Hello everyone. Today there are many devices and gadgets with which scientists study dark matter, black holes and other unexplained mysteries of the universe. Each year science develops more and more, and new truths are revealed to humanity, truths that years ago were unimaginable. We could probably have made all these unique discoveries much earlier if we used all the inventions that scientific geniuses had ever created. Who knows, maybe our view of the world would have changed, and the space around us would have looked quite different. But many of these inventions were forgotten or hidden undeservedly, and some were completely lost in history. We will talk about these inventions today. Let's get it on. Magnetic motor. Most of the devices that improved human life were created by inventors who believed that they were useful to humanity. Troy Reed is just one of them. In 1989, he invented and patented a magnetic motor that needs no fuel. Zero fuel! At the same time, the device is powerful enough to move a car, but it doesn't require any charge, as it charges independently while driving. Sounds like a dream, huh? Unfortunately, this engine was never mass-produced. Although with its help, cars could be much cooler than Tesla. Rife method. In 1934, the scientist Royal Rife created a machine to fight cancer. But we must clarify that he was a supporter of the theory that cancer is a direct relative of viruses. For that reason, Rife invented a special generator capable of attacking certain infected cells frequently and destroying them. What? You'd say that sounds like nonsense. And yet the treatment left 14 documented cases of recovery of terminally ill cancer patients. Even modern medicine can't achieve such results, and we're talking about the 1930s. However, when Rife refused to cooperate with the head of the American Medical Association, the organization did everything possible to thwart his research and accuse the scientist of fraud. Of course, this is all just a rumor, because there are no documents that definitely prove the association's fight against Rife's method. The scientist was bribed many times. The equipment disappeared from his lab, where a fire also occurred, and in the end, Rife simply gave up. Rain control. Controlling the climate is one of humanity's oldest desires, no matter that this skill has been wished for by many, from evil sorcerers to mutants on Professor X's team. But you'll agree that controlling the rain would be really convenient, especially when your city's suffering a drought and a fire is about to start. Wilhelm Reich, a scientist and psychologist who noticed a drought that destroyed a blueberry crop in Maine, created an invention known as the Cloudbuster. At least that's what the legend says. According to the Bangor Daily News, which described for the first time the work of this machine. At the time of its launch, there were no forecasts of a possible precipitation. However, a few hours after Reich installed and activated his invention, storm clouds appeared from nowhere, and 0.64 centimeters of rain fell. Perhaps Reich's technology posed a threat to some government institutions, as his research was restricted and the work and prototypes were eliminated. There was no second test of the machine, and soon the story was forgotten, like another modern legend. But imagine how promising this development would have been. Water-based engine. To be able to use water as fuel would be a real treasure for the modern world. Some claim that the American inventor Stan Meyer invented a water-based engine at the end of the last century. The main element of the device is a kind of water fuel cell. It is there that water, with the help of electrolysis, is decomposed into hydrogen and oxygen, forming the so-called explosive gas hydrogen hydroxide. This is what Meyer installed in the engine of a buggy, replacing the spark plugs with special injectors, which injected the explosive gas into the cylinders of the internal combustion engine. The inventor built the vehicle in 1990 and showed it to an Ohio television correspondent. According to him, 83 liters of water were enough to make a trip from New York to Los Angeles, almost 4,500 kilometers by the way. Unfortunately, Stan Meyer's story ended in an intricate and tragic way. The inventor himself was murdered, and his engine was called a fake. Starlight material. Unique in its properties, this material was invented in 1983. Its creator was an ordinary hairdresser from Yorkshire whose name was Maurice Ward. Although the old man had no technical education, he somehow managed to create starlight, a substance capable of withstanding colossal temperatures 3 times higher than those required for diamond fusion. During laboratory tests, it was even able to withstand the heat of a nuclear explosion. Just imagine it. Starlight attracted the public's attention after its tests were shown on the BBC. The material was applied to the surface of an egg, after which it was exposed to a temperature of 2500 degrees Celsius. After a few minutes, the surface of the egg was only slightly warmed up, while the inside of the egg remained completely raw. Unfortunately, Ward did not dare to license the material because he feared that starlight would be used by criminals. As a result, the material never left the laboratory walls during its existence. The inventor himself died in 2011, and the starlight formula disappeared with him.
Before I reveal the most amazing example, I'd like to remind you to subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. We upload amazing fact-filled list videos daily. Also, make sure to click that bell icon to stay updated, or you'll regret on missing out on some amazing knowledge that could have filled your brain.
Hendershot's generator. On February 28, 1928, a man named Lester Hendershot became famous for his fuelless engine, which all the newspapers talked about. In an incredible way, Hendershot managed to obtain energy with his device, using the Earth's magnetic field. You can say that the device was like an unusual large compass. The generator produced electricity, which could power the engine, but didn't make any useful movement independently. For the first time, the idea of this device came to him in a dream when he was 20 years old. For several years, Hendershot forgot the idea and began working on it when he had to replace the broken engine in a toy plane. According to the logs available, Hendershot created a useful device with a power of 200 to 300 watts. For some time, the scientist was a true star, but soon the praises in his direction were replaced by accusations of charlatanism and fraud. After a while, Hendershot received a strong electric shock and never showed up again with his developments. According to his son, Mark Hendershot, his father received $25,000 for not revealing information about the generator. Sloot Digital Coding System. The first 20cm floppy disk appeared in 1971 and contained only 80 kilobytes of information. Today, that number seems simply ridiculous to us, when any smartphone has that same amount of memory but in gigabytes. But humanity could have achieved better results and much faster. In 1995, Dutch inventor Romke Jan Bernhard Sloot devised an algorithm that could compress hundreds of gigabytes of information. It was compact, and it wasn't the usual compression at all. The algorithm of the decryption process itself occupied 370 megabytes. Sloot proved its success by simultaneously saving 16 films on a 64 kilobyte chip. However, in 1999, a few days before the transfer of the source code to the public, the inventor died in an unusual circumstance, and all the information was lost. But if this technology made it to the public and were developed, today our phone could hold almost every movie in the world. Searle's disk. All his life, inventor John Searle dreamed of reproducing the images and ideas he had as a child. One day, he discovered that adding a small component of an alternating current to the radio frequency during the manufacture of ferrite magnets gave them completely unexpected properties. After a series of experiments with flat magnets, Searle made an annular magnet and several cylindrical ones. Magnetizing them openly, he placed cylindrical magnets on the outer side of the ring magnet, and a slight push from one of the cylinders caused all the cylinders to start moving in a circle, and this movement didn't stop. Taking this unusual effect as a base, Searle created a generator in which his living magnets moved, generating electrical energy. This was incredible in itself, but the scientists discovered that when the rotation speed of the magnetic cylinders increased, the generator lost weight. To investigate this effect, Searle created a separate disc-shaped generator and unrolled it at a high speed. Suddenly, the disc, still spinning thing rose rapidly about 15 meters. It emitted a pink glow, and the air smelled of ozone. Searle took his time to learn how to operate this flying disc, and in the end he literally defeated gravity. Searle's experiments with the levitating disc lasted from 1963 to 1978 until funding for the program was completed. The scientist never patented his device and destroyed all the work samples almost immediately. Today he travels with conferences all over the world, but says he's afraid to publicly demonstrate his inventions again. Too many bad people in the world. Ogle's carburetor. In the 1970s, inventor and mechanic Tom Ogle created a completely new carburetor. Its operation was based on heating the gasoline to produce steam, which then fell into the combustion chambers. Not only did Ogle's invention save fuel significantly, and therefore money for motorists, but it almost didn't pollute the environment. The inventor even claimed that the exhaust of a car equipped with his carburetor could be used to dry hair. But although the device was thoroughly tested, even successfully, it was never mass-produced. However, it wasn't even for safety reasons. Ogle was repeatedly approached by representatives of oil and gas companies who offered him large amounts of money to stop his investigations. Each time, Tom stubbornly refused, until finally on August 19, 1981, his life ended suddenly. Doctors discovered that the reason for this was way too many drugs and alcohol, but family members didn't believe the official data. Too many of Ogle's inventions could affect the fortunes of the richest, and with the death of the creator of an economic carburetor, humanity has lost this unique device, which no one has been able to recreate since.